You're now listening to the Basic and Boujie podcast.
And we're live. We have a guest. So my favorite episode. This is like my official favorite episode. This is Miss Shireeta. Shireeta, you can go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi everyone, and my name is Shireeta Benjamin. I am the owner of C.A.R.E Home Health Agency, C.A.R.E Transportation, Elite Infusion IV Hydration Company. I have partners with all these companies, and also Deliver Delicious, which is a home delivered meals company. And then on my own, I have a consulting company called C.A.R.E Benjamin LLC, Touch of Love Foundation, and I also have a partnership where I have an event space, Fashion House Germantown.
Yeah, busy woman. You know what? Boss lady. It's a true boss lady right there.
For real.
Boss lady. And some of your background is in nursing.
Yes.
Is an ER nurse.
Yes. So I've been a nurse.
So we're like,
Sister.
yes.
Is that how you guys met?
Kind of, yeah, like a mentorship. I went through her for a mentorship and found out she was an ER nurse. She found out I was an ER nurse, and I feel like we just clicked that day.
Yes, we definitely did.
There's definitely a sisterhood within emergency room nurses, and it's just, it doesn't even have to be explained. It's just, we just know.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about your nursing life.
So I've been a nurse for 12 years. I actually started out in the medical field when I was 19 as a medical assistant, and then I moved into EMT and went back to school for my RN. I graduated from Abington Memorial Hospital, Dixon School of Nursing.
Me too.
In 2009, and then I started my journey on to nursing. I had been in many specialties, with ER being like my top and favorite specialty. And then I got out of the hospital scene as a full-time employee in 2015, and then I moved on to doing ER travel nursing, and I did that for 2.5 years. And while I was doing the ER travel nursing, I was also a prison nurse, and then I decided to do entrepreneurship. So,
Nice. Was there anything in particular that kind of took you away from bedside nursing?
honestly, I love bedside nursing because I was in the ER. You saw so many things. You never knew what you were running into each day. But I just wanted to make my money work for me.
Right.
So that's why I decided
Freedom.
to do entrepreneurship and have the freedom. It's freedom, but it's not freedom.
Right.
If that makes any sense.
Right. It's more so like you're a slave to yourself and your own ideas, and you just like, there's no off button. You don't clock out.
Right.
You're 24/7.
Yes.
You
But
know
it's
all
more
these businesses.
rewarding because
Yes.
it's for you, done by
Right.
you, right?
The
So it doesn't even feel like work, even though I honestly, when you think about it, I work 7 days a week. It doesn't feel like I'm actually working, and I would be up as early as 5-6 o'clock in the morning, going to bed at 2 o'clock in the morning. I call it napping because I do not sleep. But I take the time that I take the nap, and then I wake back up and start my day all over again. So
Right.
Even like I feel like when you're working for yourself and one even small opportunity happens or anything, even just when I reached out to you for the interview, you're like, sure, of course I'll do. I'm like, yes, like that's a win. That's a win for me. Like this is for us. Like this is for me, for us. So just like little things like that. If I worked for like this mega company and I got somebody to say, yeah, I'll get on the interview, I'll probably be like, all right, I'll check that box. I did my task for the day for this mega employer. But when you do it for yourself, it's like, yes, I did that.
yes.
As I'm working my 9 to 5, it's not that I don't love what I do, because I enjoy, there's something that I get out of it. But anytime I'm sitting in front of that computer and like doing Canva for the podcast, or for the coaching, or for Ashley's business, like there's this like rush of like,
It's different,
right? And the time flies by. When you're doing 9 to 5, it's like,
Shit, it's still 11
what
o'clock.
time is
It's
it
not
right now?
lunchtime
That is very
Waiting
true.
for lunchtime.
But when it's you for you, it's this whole other just feeling, right?
Right.
So
And that's why I think that I work so much, because the time just flies by and I'm like, oh my God, it's 5 o'clock already and I'm still not done everything that I was supposed to do. But when I was working in, as a bedside nurse and everything like that, especially night shift, oh my God.
It's a struggle.
After 3 o'clock,
At 3 a.m.?
between 3 and 7 a.m., you was like looking at your clock like, oh my God, it's only 5 minutes. Like, what is going on? It felt like the time stopped, especially when you got to 5.
Right.
Is that like the busiest time? Or
No,
is
there's
it
like
the-
nothing happening.
No.
But it's
Yeah.
like it's those are odd hours because I feel like there's nothing happening. But as soon as you're like, man, we're just gonna chill, or we're gonna do, you order food, or you do anything non-nursing related, something crazy.
Yes.
Like, oh, don't relax. Like, there's no patience in here, but don't you dare relax.
And that's exactly how it is.
At 6:45 cold, the world's in. You're like, damn, where is day shift?
Where is they shift?
Where is day shift?
So, and she said it best, like when you have that downtime, when you want to plan to do something else, that's when everything happens. I just being a travel nurse, I worked at a level 1 trauma center in PA, and at like my shift was over at 3 o'clock. At 2:50, 2:50, this patient comes in, car accident, and she was like in a Maserati. I remember it like it was yesterday because how crazy it was. But like they said that they found her walking on the side of the road, and her whole like forehead was like flapped over. And so she comes in and she's talking to me. Blood pressure 60 over 40. She's like, don't let me die. As all this blood, I went home drenched in blood that day. Like,
10
and I was
minutes
just
before your shift is up.
10 minutes before my shift.
That right there is nursing. That is ER nursing right there.
She made it. She did, and I was happy, and that's why I love telling that story, because I'm like, I just knew that she wasn't, and I'm like, that shock that she was in saved her life, because it's definitely, it was crazy.
That's a crazy story.
Yes,
Stories
you had
like
to
that
see
make
it.
me feel like, oh, I need to pick up a shift. Like, I need that adrenaline rush. Like, I need to pick up a shift.
Stories like that I made the right decision.
And then also like when COVID hit, and I seen what they were going through, I wanted to help,
I feel like I had nurses guilt for sure.
Yeah.
Like there's so much that I could be doing, but I also know that you guys aren't protected, and I'm not trying to go in there either. And that's just facts. Like, I'm like, I was just like you probably were, talking to your nurses that are in the hospital, in the ER, and experiencing what they're experiencing just through conversation. And I'm just like, I don't have to do that right now, so I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to put my life in jeopardy.
But I will tell you, those rates.
Oh, the rates was good. Now my recruiter was like, "Oh, hey Melanie, these are," and I'm just like, "Oh, Donna."
Yes, I was getting them text messages, and I was like, "Look, I want to take it." Then no,
I have a girlfriend, Bonnie. She's a travel nurse, and she's been in New York for the last year now, and she was there during all those crazy, like, talk about bank. She's like, come on, just do like 6 weeks. I'm like, I just can't do it. I just like I just don't have the mental capacity. I don't think I can do like a 12-hour shift in the ER in a trauma center. It's gonna take a while for me to get back up there. I feel like it's been too much time.
Oh,
I feel like it's been too much time.
so
I don't know how you guys do it. I don't know how you guys do. That's just like 2-3 stories tops of.
Yeah, that's just like
you just like, no, I couldn't do it.
You guys are special people, and I'm not just saying that. That is 100% facts.
That's how you know it's our passion.
Yes.
Yeah.
You
So
can't
I'm like,
go
that
into it
that
like,
makes me excited. I'm like, yes, maybe I should go back in the ER. Or for you're like, I know exactly what I'm
I
doing.
appreciate you guys for what you do, 100%, 1,000,000%.
But to piggyback off of our entrepreneurship conversation, we kind of answered this question. But if you had to say, I work X amount of hours a day, we know you work 7 days a week. How many hours a day would you say?
20.
Not including your nap that you use to sleep.
I work at least 20 hours a day. I would like to get it down. I actually have a personal assistant now.
Very nice.
Yes, I'm so
You
excited.
definitely, that was long overdue.
Yes, I mean, I had a few personal assistants and everything like that, but I will say that this one really, like, you watch Double Squares Prada,
Yes.
or Set It Up. This assistant is like that. Like, I'm like on point. Like, she's on point with me, and I think that she's gonna make me come to the fact that I only should be working 8 hours a day.
I was gonna say, what do you want to do? 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, or you want to do 8 hours a day, 7 days a week? What will be your, like,
What
this
was
is my
my
dream
dream?
schedule where all my businesses are running, I'm making money in my sleep.
That would be my ideal.
Right. So
Making money in my
I'll have to work
sleep
that many hours.
and not really having to work in that many hours. Actually, just going into my businesses, checking up on them, making sure that they're being run correctly. You know, my staff being able to come to me and, you know, give me monthly reports or quarterly reports, and I feel confident that, you know, everything will run smoothly without me.
The work is getting done. It's getting
Yeah,
done.
and it's not to say that it wouldn't, because this week, you know, with me being gone and everything like that, it did run smoothly. It's just that I have to let go.
Yeah.
That's gonna be the hardest.
That's the hardest thing for me. Is me. I have to let, you know, things go, and I'm so particular about certain things, and it's hard for me to just, you know, let it go.
These are like your babies, your other
Yes.
babies. Like, you're always gonna feel like nobody's gonna do it the way I'm gonna do it, or how I want it done. You have, especially when you have a vision. Like,
Right.
no, let me just fix that real quick. Thank you, though.
Is there one that you feel you're most hands-on with and one that you feel less hands-on with? And
So-
it's a
Yeah, so the one that I'm most hands-on with, honestly, is C.A.R.E Home Health Agency. That was the first business. That's my biggest baby. You know, I have a lot of employees through that company. So because I have so many mouths to feed with that company, it's like I make sure that I'm more hands-on with that one. The least hands-on, I would say, is Deliver Delicious, only because of that company is with my cousin. Me and him decided to go into it. He's a chef, and I was like, my patients need healthy meals that taste good, and we came up with Deliver Delicious. He does a lot of the work. He tries for me not to do stuff. He's like, but I feel like I don't want to be that partner that doesn't do anything.
Like, I'll help
so
you.
I'm like, I'll help you, and he's like, no, I don't need that much help. I don't need that much help. So I had one job within that company, and you know, and I do that one job, and it only takes me about a couple hours to do each week because it's billing, right? And so that's probably the one that I'm least hands-on with.
okay.
And everything.
I like that idea. I'm like, see, that just came together.
Yes.
That's a genius idea.
Right.
Especially during these times. There were a lot of
Exactly.
people who didn't have access, who were afraid to go out, who, you know, for whatever
Right.
reason, and now they can have that service. That's great.
Yeah.
Did that
Definitely.
blossom in 2020 when people weren't going to the market?
Oh my goodness. So
You couldn't
we
keep up
blossomed
with
really
it.
fast. So honestly, we actually just got like our approvals in January of this year. So although in 2020 we started, he was doing a lot of private pay, like people for doing meal prep and everything. And so we got our contracts with the insurance companies in January. And when I tell you, like, that's growing faster than my home health agency was growing.
I believe it.
And like we have so many patients, and every week, you know, it's just like a bulk load more that's coming from meals and everything. And so I'm very appreciative of it. It just makes
post that information so people can get some healthy, good meals.
Yes, definitely, and they are really, really good. Cause I ate them like a few times. I had surgery, and I had to have a soft diet.
Okay.
And I was like,
You're like, well, let me
he was
test
like,
out
well,
this
what do you
product."
like? And I was like, just make me anything that's soft. I don't even care, because I don't know what I'm gonna eat.
Right.
And
Just give
every
me
single
something.
meal that he made and prepared for me, it was really good. So I stand by the brand.
You got the first-hand
That's good.
experience. So you told us you have an assistant. So how do you stay organized in general, with and without an assistant?
Without an assistant, I'm organized chaos.
That's the ER nurse in you. That's how we function.
Yes.
Organized chaos.
Yes, I know where everything is, but it's chaotic to everybody else. When people see me, honestly, they think that everything is easy because I don't make things look hard. Like I walk around, you know, I smile every day.
You have like a very laid back personality. So it's just like,
Yes.
yeah, I run a couple businesses, no big deal. It's what I do. So it makes people think, I can do it. Look how calm she is.
Yes, like Shireeta could do it, anybody could do it. But honestly, it's just I know how to handle that pressure, and I think that became like because I was in the ER, because I was an ER nurse, because I was a trauma nurse working in trauma, a level 1 trauma centers. Like I think that's the reason why I have such a calm attitude, personality.
We can't freak out in those situations.
Yes, we can't. So you just
even
gotta
if
like
you're
go
dying
with the
on
flow.
inside, exactly, go with the flow.
Yeah. So I mean, in all honesty, with my assistant, it's getting more organized. She's actually like, it was funny because her and my boyfriend, like, they're both Capricorns.
Okay.
And I'm a Gemini. So you know how Capricorns think. Like, they're very, like, they're about the money. You know, they are very, like, calm and collective, and they're very strategic. So everything that she does for me, like, she thinks about it like a chess move.
Right. She
And,
sees everything.
and he says all the time, he's like, you're playing checkers when people are playing chess. Like, you gotta play chess. You gotta look at the moves. I'm like, I don't know how to play chess.
You gonna teach me?
Right. And he's like, you gotta be 8 moves ahead before you make your first move. Like, you gotta practice your whole 8 moves. And so therefore she does that with me. Like, she knows what I'm going to be saying or what I'm going to think about, and then she already has an answer, and I'm like,
Good. Like she's done all that back and forth in her head before she even put, like, all right, I know she really likes it this way, so I'm gonna do it this way. I'll have this ready. Like, that's a great way to be.
It is.
She think about angles that you don't even think about. And, like,
And the funny thing about it is I didn't really train her. Like,
she just came.
and knew what she needed to help me with.
Good. See?
Because it's funny, I'm a good mentor, but when it comes to me training my employees, I'm like, okay, I explained it to you one time.
Follow me, take notes.
Just do what I do.
Right. I explained it to you one time. You repeat it back to me. I explained it to you second time. You demonstrate it for me. I explained to you third time. I hope that you got it. If you don't get it after the third time, I'm like,
I'm gonna tell you.
why you didn't get it? And then I'm like, I'll do it myself.
Right. Because that was taking time out of your day. So
Right.
You're just like, I just rather do it.
I'd just rather do it. And a lot of people be like, oh no, that's not how, like, you know, he's like, you have to train them like, you know, like they're in elementary school. Like, you have to be that type of leader, you know, and that doesn't work for me.
Right. Like, I understand that, but sometimes when there's something that needs to be fixed, you don't have time to, like, hold somebody's hand. You're like, all right, I'll teach you this later, but I have to fix this now.
Right.
And I can't.
And that's so in my mentorship, a lot of people get that hands-on experience with me, and a lot of times they don't even feel like they're learning. Did you feel like you was learning in a mentorship?
I felt like being in your office was helpful because as I was looking through things, I was watching you work. So I was picking up things that I didn't realize until I left, and I was like, oh, I saw Shireeta do this. This is why she did it this way. So just even being in your office, it brings everything together.
Yes, and that's what a lot of people that have done my mentorship has said to me. They're like, I didn't even realize I knew the answer to some of this stuff until when it was presented to me, and I thought about it. I'm like, hold on, Shireeta did this,
right? And
this is how she did it, and so I'm gonna do it like that because that's how she did it. And then they get it right, and they're like, thank you. Right. You know, and
they don't remember you specifically saying it this way, but you experienced it in some way. You're like, wait, Shireeta did teach me this,
right?
We had a lot of those moments.
I know we have a lot of questions here, but one of the things that you said that I would like to talk about later is prison nursing.
Oh, okay.
We can talk about that later, but I'm like,
we can talk about it now.
I have questions about that.
That was always on my like bucket list, and I was too scared to do it.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Was it? So okay, so I'll ask now. So is it like what people glorify on TV or movies or whatever? Like, are there those crazy moments where you're just like only in the prison system? Would you
Like
see something
inmates
like
trying
that?
to set you up.
So the prison that I was working at, honestly, I think that did happen, but it didn't happen like when I was working.
Okay.
So, I worked in intake for the most part. And when I worked in intake, I got the prisoners as they after they got processed from the regular jail.
So as they're coming in?
As they're coming into the prison system, I experienced them. And honestly, like, if you look at me, like, you're like, she's such a nice nurse. They thought I was the meanest nurse ever. I was like, I wouldn't crack a smile. I would be like, everything was by the book. I did my triage. I'm like,
See, you were mean because you were by the book. That's why.
Right. And I was like, I can't give you anything. Only thing I could give you is a bottom bunk or a bottom bottom bunk or bottom tier. That's it. Like, you wasn't getting anything out of me. So a lot of them knew, like, they see my face and they were just like, I'm not even going to try her. Mm-hmm. But we have gotten a lot of stories about, that actually happening. Even when I was in orientation, they were telling us, like, don't do this. They'll try to talk you into, bringing stuff in and everything like that. It happens because, and the only reason why I know that it happens because we had situations where people were overdosed. Well, how do you overdose if there's no drugs in there? Right. You understand? Right. And, you have, like, different situations that put you in that predicament. Now, granted, if something happened while it was on your watch, you stuck there until the investigation is over. Yeah. That was a pain. Mm-hmm. But for the most part, I did enjoy my experience. The reason why I really left is because I was ready to get out of working for somebody else. Right. Like, I had already when I was doing the prison nursing, I was already starting We C.A.R.E Home Health Agency, And so, I was talking about We C.A.R.E Home Health Agency, and everybody at the prison knew. They like, oh, she's starting this business and everything. But then it made me realize, like, I'm working for myself, and I'm tired of answering to other people. Mm-hmm. Of course, I still got to answer to other people because I got to answer to the state. Right. I got to answer to the federal government. So it's always somebody to answer to. Somebody. But just me, like, I was becoming, I want to say, a bad employee. And stuff, like, I was doing things that like you wouldn't do. You wouldn't be calling out at the last minute. If you're a good employee. And I am, like, I pride myself in, making sure that I went to work and, and that I did my job and everything. And let me tell you, when the CEOs see me, they was like, yes, we gonna have a good night. Because they knew that no matter how many people was in that intake, it could be 12, it could be 50, it could be 75 people in intake. If that intake room was full, before I left my shift, all them prisoners was processed. It was like, it was 3 of us, and sometimes it would cut down to 2 of us if I was working overnight. But I still made sure that all of them was processed before I walked out the door. Because I didn't want day shift to have anybody left over to be processed. So
you don't have to say much when you work like that. Your work ethic speaks for itself. They're like, oh, it's going to be a good night. We've had those nights. Who's in charge tonight? Oh, shit. Who's in charge tonight? Oh, it's gonna be a good night. But it doesn't matter. Yes. Even if all hell breaks loose, we got a good team. We're a good core group of nurses that you're gonna be able to get through anything with.
And my home base was a juvenile prison, so I dealt with a lot of the kids.
Is that harder than adults?
It is.
I can imagine.
It's harder only because, and you see what's going on today, especially in Philadelphia, like all this violence that's going on, shootings, murders, and everything. Some of them kids walk through the door and you're like, they're doomed. Like, that this is the life path that they're going to follow. Then you have kids that walk in and you like,
this isn't for you.
Yeah, this
like got wrapped up in the wrong crowd.
Got wrapped up. Yeah, this is a mistake, but you could change. And then you have the kids that just, it's like they could go one way or the other. But you listen to all these stories and it's so sad. Yeah, it just make you want to wrap all of them up and like take them home with you. And like I had that, you know, situation. I have a 19-year-old daughter, you know.
Even though you look 19? Like,
yes.
You look 19.
And a lot of them thought like, you know, hey, you're really, really young. I could relate to you, you know. And I'm like, I look young, but I'm not that young.
Right.
But because I was relatable, I felt like I got through to some of them.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and I felt like, you know, I would love to know where they're at now, you know, but you don't keep those type of ties, unfortunately, with any of them. But it's, you know, after a while, it did train me out to work with the juveniles because of it was so sad to watch them.
Emotionally and mentally, like,
especially the ones that had to kept on coming and kept on coming and kept on coming, and you knew their story, you knew them by first name, like, you know, didn't even really have to do an assessment on them because you knew,
I already know.
you knew everything is wrong with them. But and they even loved me too because of down there. So at the other prison we were computers,
Okay.
but down there we were paper.
You know the struggle.
The struggle was real. With paper, oh my God, you writing all night, your hands hurting, you got ink stains, because I'm left-handed, you got ink stains all on my hands. And but they knew that if they saw me that night, that all the kids was getting processed. It's gonna be a good night. So I think they really miss me.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I'm sure that they really miss me. I missed them in some way, but you know, I had to move on.
Yeah.
Right.
It doesn't seem like a job that you can have for too long without it wearing on you. Because even when you build up a wall, there's always going to be that one heartbreaking story that gets through. You're like, I can't do this anymore. Like, I'm tired of crying over these babies. Like, this is a lot.
Yes, that's very true.
Emotional.
That was like the same thing because I did pediatric nursing too. And pediatric nursing is hard too because, like she said, you're crying over these babies and stuff.
Like you said, you want to take them all home and take care of everybody, make everybody feel better, and just make everything okay for everybody. Good. All right, so describe for me your typical day. What time do you get up? We know you don't really sleep.
What time do you wake up from your nap?
Right.
So let's like a typical day, right? Ideal day. 7 o'clock in the morning. I wake up, you know, get washed, dressed, get to the office between 8:30 and 9.
And you're still physically going into your office
2 days a week.
Okay.
So I'm good.
That's good. That's
great for me, right?
Great for you.
2 days a week, I physically go in the office. And
that's a big step.
Yeah. And so I'll get to the office between 8:30 and 9, and I'll have like a meeting with my staff early in the morning to see like what they had going on throughout the week that they might need help with, and then I'll go in my office and figure out my day.
What do I need to do
today? And the ideal time I would like to get off, like I said, is 5, but it fluctuates between 5 and 7. Okay. I'm getting off, but throughout the day I'm doing a lot of paperwork, making sure that, you know, administrative wise that we're doing the right things. I'm putting out a lot of fires.
Right. Making sure everything's in compliance.
Making sure that everything's in compliance, making sure people clock in. Oh my God.
Simple things like that. Clocking in and out.
Yes, clocking in and out. But sometimes because people dealt with me so long, they don't want to deal with my office staff. Yeah. So it's hard. Like I keep on telling them, I'm like, you say what you say, mean what you say, and I will back you up. Like I'm not one of those type of leaders that is going to throw you under the bus. Like as long as you communicate with me what you're saying, this is what's going on, I will have your back. I do that with my office staff. I do that with my aides. I do that with my nurses. You know, like I will have your back. But if you're wrong, I'm gonna tell you that you're wrong. Right. And then I'm going to apologize to the person that you wronged, and and we'll figure out the situation. But all in all, I'm never going to throw anybody under the bus because that's not, at the end of the day, it's my fault. I had to learn it. I'm the one that's responsible because everybody's under me, so I'm the one that's responsible. So I got to take the blame. Put the blame on me.
No, but that's a good way to be, especially because of the way you started your business. it was it just originally you, your fiance, and your mom?
Yes.
So people were used to speaking mostly with you. Now fast forward all these years, all this growth, all this new staff. No, I want to talk to Shireeta because that's what I've always been able to do. Well, when you go to Walmart, you can't talk to Mr. Walmart. So you have to talk to his associates.
Right.
So you had you had to start to. Like,
I have to start to disconnect,
but
and
it's also because you have your staff's back. It'll be an easier transition.
Right.
Because if you know, okay, well, Melanie told me that she can't do this, so I'm just gonna call Shireeta. Well, Shireeta told me that Melanie was right, and I just got to clock in now. Like, that's it. As opposed to somebody calling you and you're like, don't worry about that employee. I'm gonna talk to them. I'm gonna handle them. What is it that you need? And then you're catering to this person that was wrong, but because you don't want to use that client or whatever the case is, now your staff doesn't feel like they can trust you.
Right, and that's one of the biggest issues is because people like to tell you that the manager or anybody that's over you, they like to tell you that they told them something different. And I'm like,
Shireeta said.
Right, and that's why I do explain to everybody and say, I already told you what I was going to say. So therefore, you should already know that I didn't say that.
Right.
You know, and when a lot of people question them, they'll be like, well, I'm just doing what I was told. And when they say that, then they know.
Right. At that point, there's nothing else, no more explaining I can do. This is what, as much as I can do, this is what I was told to say. And if it gets repeated, you're like, yeah, that's what they're trained to do.
Yes.
That's it.
So
It's
you're
simple.
all on the same page.
Right.
No one has to guess, like you said, no one has to guess about what you said or didn't say because
Right.
everyone knows exactly what's happening and who, you know, that you would say that.
Yes.
People feel like when they know the owner of a company, they get special treatment. Like, oh, I'm just gonna call this person up and I'll just ask them myself. No,
No.
they have too much. It's too much access.
Yeah.
It is.
You have way too much access to people.
And that's a plus for my company, but it's also a downfall because of how much access they have to me. You know, a lot of people want like that special treatment because
They want to
keep
keep that up.
that up. And I'm like,
Well,
I remember
you
saying to
from
one
day
person,
one.
yes, I remember saying to one person, like, you're not my only client. And they got so mad at me because I said that, but I was like, I wasn't saying it in a fact to like, you know, be malicious or to be disrespectful. I was just saying that because it was funny. I had got her, so I had call outs, like 8 call outs in one day. So
Right. In the staffing agency next on your list.
and so this patient, I had asked her aide that worked the day before, I asked them can they come in the next day for her. So the aide was at the house with her and said, you know, yes, I'll come in tomorrow. And I was like, good, I got her covered. So when she came in the next day, the patient like, why you didn't tell me that you were going to send her? I said, well, she was there when
We had this conversation.
when we had the conversation. I don't understand why she didn't tell you that
Right.
she was going to work
Why
tomorrow.
did I have to do that?
So then
Why
she
didn't you
got
guys talk to
mad.
each other?
Right.
Yeah,
You
she
were there.
got mad at me, and she's like, well, you should call me. And I said, well, I'm sorry. I said, you know, I had 8 call outs and I was trying to get everybody staffed, and I'm still trying to get people staffed.
Right.
I said, but you know, you have staff, and I'm sorry you're not my only client. I have to make sure that these other clients get staffed. And she got mad and hung
She
up the
want
phone.
that VIP treatment. That VIP treatment that they make up in their head.
Yes.
Because everybody gets treated the same. But there's something about knowing that I could call the owner of the company.
And the owner always comes out. That was one of the things that I really prided myself on the very beginning. Of course, after a while, I had to stop. But, you know, for like my first, I want to say 150 patients, I was the one that went out and did their admission. You know, I went out, I did their admission, regardless of who their nurse was and everything like that. And I assured them that they could call me. And I gave them my card. They can call me, but I don't no longer go out and do the admissions anymore. I have patients that have left me, came back, and expected me to be their aide because I had a call out, and I'm like, I don't do that anymore.
That
like
was when we were growing, when we were a brand new company, and you had to wear all the hats.
Yeah.
Right.
Now you have people for that.
Now I have people for that. My staffing coordinator could go out and work a patient. You know, the owner's not going to go out and work the patient anymore.
Right.
Mr. Walmart don't get on the register when the lines are
He
backed
does
up.
not.
He has people for
And,
that.
and he's dead.
And he's dead.
Hold on. Not even Mrs. Walmart don't get on the register. The store manager don't get on the register.
Oh, the whole staff just be like, y'all just on your own. Y'all know what
I know those lines be long. I used to work at Walmart too. Oh my God.
Goodness. I can't. I will pay more to go to Target because I know that I'll be in and out versus dealing with
I will
Walmart.
do curbside.
See, that's where we go with that convenience.
You pay for it.
Yeah.
You pay for it. Absolutely. I'm definitely paying for convenience.
So I know that you said you work 20 hours a day. How has that affected your family life? Like, how do you try and get, we talk about balance and, work-life balance, and some of us think that's a myth, and some of us
It's
know,
really
like,
hard.
when you can and cannot, when one thing has to take precedence over something else. So
Right.
how has that affected your family life? How do you deal with those hours?
So honestly, I'm still dealing with it. It's that balance, work life and family life, that's a real thing, and you need to make sure that you can have that balance, that you can keep that balance. You want a happy family, you want a happy workplace, and you don't want to feel overwhelmed.
Right.
So like I said, I'm still working on it. That's why I got an assistant, because of I want to maintain that balance of the work life versus family life. My goal is to be home with my children, be home, with my husband, and maybe have another child.
That's exciting.
That's my goal in family life, and and make my money work for me. Because right now, even though I said that I'm working for myself and I'm an entrepreneur, I'm still working for my money.
Right.
I want to make money in my sleep, so my money has to work for me, and I have to take that role and step back and just be an owner of all the companies that I have, and no longer, be an active employee.
The owner and the face.
Right. So, that's something that, is a question that honestly is hard to answer right now, because I don't have that balance.
Yeah. And that's an honest, right?
Right. That's a real honest answer.
Real life.
I'd rather that than, well, this is how it all started.
It's all
I wake up at
perfect.
5 a.m. I have a cup of tea. Like, no, that's bullshit.
Yeah.
I struggle to get up at 7 a.m. after a 4-hour nap.
Yes.
And I try to figure out what has to get done first.
And that's how I am. Like, I have to figure it out. Like, and then I make my kids, they're in activities. I still try to make sure that I'm there for their activities. I still try to make sure that I'm, there for my teenager with everything that she got going on with school and, home and, teenager stuff. And then my older teenager that's, in her first year of college, she's actually, going into her second year of college. I'm so proud of her because she made Dean's List this year.
Oh, nice.
So I was like, yeah.
Oh, give her a round of applause.
But she's going into her second year. I'm going to be shipping her off because she's going to college. She's going away. And this year she wasn't able to go away because of COVID. But so I'm hoping that this year coming will be like a good year for her. But I'm gonna make sure that I'm there for all of them. But you also got to be there for your man.
Right, exactly. This is
They need a lot of attention too.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so, I make sure that we have that downtime, that we have that quality time. We used to take more vacations, early on with the business, and we don't as much. But I told him, I'm like, we got to start taking these vacations again.
As your time
And
frees up a little
we're
bit.
feeling confident in our businesses that we can start taking vacations again.
That's good.
So
Do you completely unplug when you go on vacation? Like
try
I'm on vacation, or
This
do you
time
try and balance it?
was
there
the
too?
very first time that I went on vacation. I'm so excited. This is the first time I went on vacation. Did not take my laptop.
Nice.
Very nice.
Did put my phone in do not disturb,
Nice.
and did not answer. Like, I really, truly didn't really work. Like, I probably sent out like a couple emails just asking some questions. And I kept in constant communication with my mom because she was running everything while we were going. But she only called me maybe once, the whole vacation.
Okay.
Nobody else wanted to call me. They were like, "We'll wait till Shireeta come back."
Right.
But it was very relaxing, and he brought his laptop. I thought he was gonna do work, and he didn't do anything. He let his phone die.
Blanket. Like, I'm gonna bring it in case I need it.
Right.
But we're not gonna use it.
I didn't even take it. I was like, I'm not taking it. I said, you could take your laptop
I have
if
an
you want to,
assistant
but
now. I don't need my laptop.
I said, I'm not taking my laptop. So so from now on, yes, that will be everything is getting turned off. Like, because I had the most relaxing vacation ever because of that.
And that also says a lot about you as a leader, and you have put yourself in a position where you have people that you can depend on so that you can unplug fully and do your life balance, and they can take care of work while you're gone.
Yes.
Yeah, that's good.
And I think they were happy that I did that for them.
And like
She gave us
more
a break.
relaxed. Everybody will be relaxed when she comes back from vacation. And your mom can handle it.
Yes.
Your mom's good. And even I feel like, and you would know better than me, but even if you have the perfect work-life balance with children, there's always things that come up that you're like, I can have the beautiful streamlined work process, but I just got a call that somebody got sick, somebody's acting out, whatever. Like, no matter how much of a balance or a structure you're gonna have, there's always things that pop up. Even with the business, there's a call out, whatever. There's always things that
I was
pop
about to
up
say,
that
because
knock
we're
you
dealing
off.
with, so it's
Right.
like it's more of that because we're in the healthcare, then it will probably be in any other field.
Yeah.
Like, it's just healthcare in itself is so unpredictable,
Right.
and it's
It's bad right
24/7. So
Exactly. Right. You have aides that do night shift, and also you're never really off.
right, and that's why I said I work 7 days a week.
That's why you nap.
That's why you
Yes.
not actually sleep. What keeps you motivated in all of this? Like, do you have a day where you wake up and you're like, I don't want to run any of these 100 businesses? What gets you out of bed?
My motivation is that I know that so when you when you have a job, right, you're working just to make it just to pay bills, right? And then you have a career, and that's something that you're like, oh, this is something that I want to do, right? This is my career, this is what I picked. And then you have your passion. What wakes me up in the morning is that I know that my career is my passion. Regardless of that, I'm not at bedside. I'm still a nurse. I'm still a nurturer. I still want to help people, and it's always been in me. So that's what gets me up in the morning. And even when I'm like feeling depressed, and I'm like, oh, like I just want to like sleep. I just want to fall up
Just one day.
yeah, I still get up, and I still make myself. I push myself to do what the necessary things are to do for that day, and then I'll be like, okay, I could go back and lay down.
Do the bare minimum. Make sure everything is running, working. Okay, now I can go back to the bed.
Yes, but that's what gets me up every morning. That I'm living in my passion.
It's just kind of the old saying of, if you do what you love, you'll never work a day in your life.
Yes,
That's just what it is.
True.
I love it. Do you ever, I feel like you're always coming out with new ideas. Do you ever feel like stagnant when you want to, like, I want to do something else, but I don't know what it is? Like, how do you come up with new ideas?
So this is the funny thing. I had to tell myself this year not to start any other businesses.
Stop.
I was like, I have to stop. So I have all these businesses, but they weren't all supposed to start at the same time, right? Now, C.A.R.E Home Health Agency, that been started, right? And then from there, I was like, okay, I'm gonna build a transportation company. Oh, I'm gonna do home delivered meals. Oh, I might do adult day. I was thinking about all these stuff. And Elite Infusion, honestly, it kind of fell into my lap with my other two partners that I have. They presented it to me. They presented the idea to me, and I was like, oh, I remember when I was in Vegas, and I wanted to start an IV hydration company, but they told us that we had to have a doctor, and I was like, I don't know no doctors.
Yep.
So it was like, that went in one ear and out the other.
funny.
And then when they presented it, and then I was like, ooh, that would be cool, that, you know, that made me, you know, get up and go. But a lot of the businesses that I have started from somebody else's idea, and they presented it to me because they knew that I would push it forward.
Yeah.
Like I'm a doer.
Brain, yeah.
I'm a doer. I make sure like I'm motivated enough to get it to where it needs to be. And everybody knows that about me. And so at first they didn't know that about me, right? Some people did probably know about me, and that's why I had haters back in the day. And I'm like, I don't even know why they hating on me, because I'm nobody, right? But a lot of people said it's because they saw something in me that I didn't see in myself. A lot of people see things in me, and they're like, I know that I know that Shireeta is the one that could get it done, so let me go to her with this idea. At this point, if I next business that I'm starting, I'm going to have 2 more businesses. I will tell y'all that. But they will be more strategic. The last one will be my business alone.
For you.
For me. Urgent care.
Yes.
Urgent care. I'm starting urgent care.
That is exciting.
And once I start that, like, that will be my end all be all, and I will finally be like, I have made it. I have accomplished everything that I wanted to accomplish. Like, and you know, that's, you know, but this year I was like, I'm not starting any more businesses. Like, I need to shave off some of the businesses that I do have, which hence why I'm stopping my consulting company as of September. Because it's just too much, because everybody wants me, right? And you know, I've spoken with him about this. I'm like, you know, I gotta do it. He like, no, you need to hire a team. He's like, you know, when you had consultants, they had a whole team. You didn't work with the owner of the consulting agency, and everybody wants to work with me because they know that I'm going to get it done. They know
Shireeta
that
Benjamin LLC. I want my mentor to be Shireeta Benjamin.
Right. And I don't want nobody else to be my mentor. Right. And because I feel like it's hard for me to let it go, because if somebody keeps on requesting me, I'm going to give them me. I just was like, I know I can't give them me. Right. It's too much for me right now. It's going to overwhelm me with everything else that I have going on, and I won't be the partner that everybody needs me to be. So I need to let go the business that consumes me the most, which is the consulting.
No, that's definitely time consuming.
Yeah, because and that's why, hence why I work 20 hours a day, because I don't really work for We Care Home Health Agency those whole 20 hours. Like, when I leave the office, I'm done with We Care Home Health Agency. You know, when I go home, I'm doing a consultant. I'm writing people's policies. I'm, you know, getting ready for somebody's mentorship. I'm getting ready for an internship. I'm, you know, on the phone with somebody, you know, that's asking me questions about, you know, anything that they have going on, and I'm helping other people out. People call me, like, honestly, like, they call me during my We Care hours and expect that I'm going to stop everything I'm doing for We Care and do stuff for them. And I realize that they're taking a lot of my energy.
Yeah, especially if you're like in the zone of working on something, and now somebody's calling you with something that you shouldn't be dealing with during those hours. Now they're just like threw your whole thought process off.
Yes.
So no, I can understand that.
And sometimes I have to text, like, I'll see them call me, and I'll text them back like I'm in a meeting.
Yeah, you are in a meeting with yourself because you're working on something. You are in a meeting.
Right.
Are you down to one phone? Because I remember you used to have like 3 phones. Or this is just your weekend phone and your other phones are at the office.
I'm at 2 phones now.
Okay, that's good. I think you had 3 at one point.
Oh my God, when you had 3 when you, at one point I had 5. So,
and they were all ringing, and then she's like on Zoom answering my questions. All 3 phones are ringing. I was like, how is she doing this? But when I say never frustrated, never flustered, it's just like, yep, that's the answer to that. This is We Care. Hold, bloop, Zoom answer. I'm like, how? Like, I was just in awe. I was just kind of like, how are you doing
it's
this?
like, and then everybody wants to call you and be like, I'm not going to take a lot of your time. I'm only going to take a minute, hour later.
A minute is a long time when you're as busy as you are.
Right, but an hour later, they're still on the phone with me.
Or small talk. We don't have time.
Right.
We don't have time.
And so,
what do you want?
Yeah, but that's the most time consuming. So if in order for me to have that balance with my family, I have to eliminate the consulting.
Okay.
And I realized that.
And you have to realize that, right? You want to give your all to everything, but once you see this isn't serving me, or I'm not
It's
doing
taking
this
away
as
too
a
much.
right. Yeah.
So I agree. What is your greatest fear, and how do you manage fear?
My greatest fear. At one point in time, I would have said failure, but I'm not going to say failure because failure is just a closed door, right? And another door is going to open. So it's not true failure. And I don't believe that I can actually truly fail because of, I feel like God wanted me to do this, and because of this, He is written. So I'm not going to fail at it. Failure. I mean, my true fear, I guess, is me waking up one day and not wanting to do anything, truly being done. That would be my fear, because at that point in time, like, what happened?
Right.
What happened in life? Now what? Like, if I have so many trades to fall back on, if my businesses, like, let's say all of my businesses, like, just was done, and just, I still could fall back on nursing. I can still fall back on EMT. I could still be a hairdresser because I'm a licensed cosmetologist. I could still, do bartending because I'm a licensed bartender. Like, I have so many things under my belt.
You can get your drink. I can do your hair in the back. If you get her, I can wrap that. What you
And if you
need?
get drunk,
Exactly what you need.
later.
Exactly.
Yes.
One-stop shop.
One-stop shop. I'm the one-stop shop. But so how do I deal with fear? I conquer it every day. I pray. I talk. I take mental breaks. I talk to myself, and I talk to God and be like, give me the energy, to conquer this.
Yeah.
Give me the energy to say no, because most of my fears, most of the things that I deal with that I'm fearful of is me only just having to say no. No, I can't do it. Because I don't ever...
Letting somebody down or disappointing somebody because you don't
Yes.
have the time. But that's taking away from you.
And it is. It's taken away from me, and it's taken away from my mental health. And I'm like, I have to say no. And like I said, I was listening to the church this morning, and I was like, he preached on being overwhelmed, and he's like, learn to say no.
It's so hard to learn. It's such a simple word, but it really is hard to say sometimes.
And you got to know that no is a complete sentence. Like, you don't have to give any explanation after you say no.
I learned that a couple years ago, but I definitely was a person that was like, no because, or no if I knew. No.
I used to say I don't know, or maybe, and just not answer. Like, you want to go here? I don't know.
I don't really know. No, I don't want to go.
Instead of saying just no. Like, no, I'm not going.
Or like, oh, I think I have something to do that day. I'm not sure. I'll get back to you. Crickets. Nothing
Yes,
happens.
right.
Never get back to you.
Don't post that day.
Don't post that day. Instead of just saying no, and for you is more like, no, I'm taking a mental health day and I'm just going to sit here and not be on my phone and just unplug. And you can do that without having to explain yourself to people. I was definitely an over-explainer.
Yes.
Like, oh, no, because whatever. It doesn't matter. Most of the time, whatever the answer you give them, all they heard was no anyway. Like, whatever, the answer was no.
Yes. So
There's power in telling people no.
there's a lot of power in telling people no.
Because it sets boundaries too. We don't give ourselves that.
Right.
So saying no
The more you
is a
say
boundary.
yes, the more I feel like the more you say yes, the more people ask you, especially if they know you always say yes. Melanie will do what she always does.
Yep, and that was me.
Yeah, I felt like I was turned into that person. Oh, just call Mel, she'll do it. No. I don't want to be that person anymore. I used to like being that person.
Yes.
But then you
because you felt like a lot of people depended on you,
Mm-hmm.
yes, and you reliable,
Yep.
and
I got
but
you.
people look at that as a weakness.
Yep. Hail to the no. And then our final question is, what would be your number one goal for 2021? We are halfway through the year, believe it or not. I know you're not opening up any new businesses.
I'm not opening up
At
a
least
new
as of right
business.
now.
Right, but I did stop going to nurse practitioner school because
Okay.
I had so much going on.
Yeah, that's a lot.
So my goal is to go back because that's the only way I'm gonna meet my ultimate
I was
goal.
gonna say, yep, that's the road to urgent care.
That is my final goal of 2021 is to get back into nurse practitioner school and be serious about it this time.
You got it. You're gonna do it. It's already written, like you said, so it's gonna happen. I'll just be here waiting to promote it, you know. That's all.
You're gonna start your business.
I know. It's coming.
I mean, this is a business in itself, but you're gonna start a nursing business.
I know. It's like as much as I'm looking at other things, I just keep getting pulled back into nursing, and I'm like, okay, I hear you. I hear you, universe. I'm coming. So that's a wrap. That's a wrap on this episode. Did you have a
Thank
good
you for
time,
having me. Yes,
Good.
thank
Good.
you. I
Thank you for
appreciate
coming.
you
I
guys.
really
Thank
appreciate you coming. That's a wrap, guys.
Bye.
Bye.